My name is Anil Lewis. I'm the Executive Director of Blindness Initiatives for the National Federation of the Blind, and I really am pleased to be here. Please suffer through my allergies. I'm glad that the speaker prior to me went first, so it lets me do a little bit more of a dynamic presentation and cover some of the things that he talked about. I'd be remiss if I didn't make a couple of observations from the beginning. I appreciate being invited, and I would love to work with the coordinators to make sure that the experience is absolutely more accessible, and hopefully after my presentation you'll understand why it's even more important. So there's some videos that have been shown, really great. It would have been helpful if they were audio described. So you guys got to enjoy some really good videos. And one gentleman I was really getting ready to praise because he was reading his slide, the gentleman that's the engineer, was talking about the kid that wrote the letter. And he said, and because of your presentation, he left off the punchline. Yeah.
He decided to become a lawyer.
There you go. I know. Diana, my guardian angel today, she filled in the punchline. So it was really good. But I like the fact that you have tried to be accommodating, and we can be a resource in helping make that better. So the National Federation of the Blind knows that blindness is not the characteristic that defines you or your future. So every day we raise expectations for blind people because we realize it's those low expectations that create obstacles between blind people and our dreams. We believe that we can live lives we want, and blindness is not what holds us back. And even more so, we believe that we have the intellect and capacity to contribute not only in creating solutions to our own problems, but also making the experience and the solutions better for everyone. I'd like to start by pointing out back in 2010, our then president, Mark Mauer, says, what is it that people say in society that a blind person cannot do? This is the audience participation part of the presentation. They can't see, that's the obvious because you guys are researching. What about general society?
Ride a bike. Ride a bike.
In the context of this, drive, right? Most people say a blind person can't drive, and Dr. Mauer says, is it because we can't see? Is that why we can't drive? No, it's because we don't have access to the information. We can make the decisions if we had access to the information. So we embarked upon what we call our Blind Driver Challenge. And if you go to blinddriverchallenge.org, no, not right now, when I'm done, blinddriverchallenge.org, you can see the resulting impact. We work with Torque Robotics and some researchers at Virginia Tech to create non-visual interfaces that allow a blind person to drive a vehicle. President Bono, our current president, and myself actually got to drive a Ford Escape on the Daytona International Speed in 2011. And the way we did that is we had LiDAR, we had GPS, we had radar, we had cameras. We outfitted that vehicle with everything, and we found out that it wasn't a matter of getting enough information. It was deciding what information. Because with all those tools, you can get so much information that it'd be information overload if you try to convey that. So we tried to limit it to what is the information that's necessary to drive independently and safely. And this is where we converge with the autonomous vehicle question. We recognized then that we had the capacity, and through our public demonstration, we demonstrated to others that we had the capacity. And we were able to build some relationships. I have to out Google at the time. Google was the forerunner in this space around that time. And we tried to interact with them, and they said, no, we'll deal with the accessibility question later. Right now, we're just trying to get the technology working. Not recognizing that at the beginning is when you need to start the collaboration. One of my friends who's an attorney, he likes to describe it this way because he's a disability ADA specialist, and he talks about all the people that have built all these wonderful things and then worry about accessibility later. He says, it's like building a 20-story skyscraper and standing back and marveling at what a wonderful thing you've done. And then say, you know what? It'd be great if you put in an elevator. It's a little bit too late yet. So we're trying to make sure that we're there in the design phase of the autonomous vehicles. And we have robust relationships, specifically with VW. They've actually come to meet with us, and we've actually entered into a real collaborative agreement. So we work with them on the PAVE project as well around public awareness. We're helping with the testing and the cruise and the Waymo environments. We have some other relationships too, so we can encourage you to make sure that you still reach out to us to be those partners in accessibility, especially around blindness. That's our expertise. And making sure that you have representation of people with disabilities is key. So one thing to that, the presentation for me is, what is it? What is it listed in the agenda? Hearing from the visually challenged, right? Okay, so I offer this distinction. As a member of the National Federation of Blind, I have a very positive concept of who I am as a blind or low visual person. Now, there is a space when I lost my sight at 25 that I consider myself visually impaired or visually challenged. And at that particular point, because I hadn't identified a positive self-concept, I wasn't aware of how to use effectively all the tools and the non-visual accessibility skills that a blind person can use to be competitive in an environment with their sighted peers. So I did need a lot more help than I do now. I'm not saying that I don't need any help, but I'm speaking specifically of what I'm going to say now is specifically speaks to those individuals who are blind and otherwise independent. So I don't want to take anything away from someone who maybe experiencing some vision loss and may still have those fears that still come with that and the apprehension and the lack of training. So I just want to make sure that's out there. I've been taking some notes, and that's what I'm going to speak to really quickly about what I've heard today. We have to start right now thinking about AV beyond the car. I know that this is called the SmartDrivingCar Summit. And I think that one of the things that's prohibitive in really being visionary around what we're doing is we're still thinking in the confines of a car. Many people are still thinking in the confines of having a steering wheel and a front-facing windshield, all those different things, because that's where we are now. But we have to be truly visionary and think about the autonomous vehicles of the future. May not have windshields. You know, they may not have a steering wheel. They may have individuals sitting in a circle so that they can interact with one another as opposed to all front-facing. Who knows? Maybe safety will say it's better for the person to be facing backwards in case of collision. You know, all those different things. We have to be open to the fact that this could be a completely different model, a completely different form factor. And by doing that, we can also talk about, let's build it so it's successful from the beginning. Let's have a vehicle with a lower floor so it's easier to put in order. Let's have discussions around technology that can be integrated that allows a person to get information non-visually. And that way, those cars that are made accessible are not only cars that people with disabilities can use, they're cars that everyone can use, speaking to the question around universal design. And the importance of that is, universal design doesn't mean that it's great for me, it means it's great for everyone. Eliminating the transportation desert, I put that down because I like that phrase, and I think that's been covered enough, and I don't want to keep us going further behind by elaborating or pontificating. That was another snarky note that I made for myself. I do want to focus on the collaboration, so let me spend my time on that. So the question is around technology, policy, and public awareness and public education. I think those are the three pillars that we can offer our assistants. The National Federation of the Blind has a lot of technological expertise in accessibility. So you can come and visit us in Baltimore. We have a national office there. Our International Braille Technology Center has $2.5 million in access technology equipment used by blind individuals. We have some forward-thinking technology specialists on staff. Love to collaborate with you. And like I said, some people have already begun to partner with us. Around the policy space, we have the decision around what's an operator, what's a license, all those different things. And luckily, we have a relationship with SAFE and I think with PAVE, so that they recognize that the National Federation of the Blind is one of the strongest policy units, I would call, not only just the disability space, but really we have a really good, powerful presence. And it's not because of our dynamic advocacy and policy team at our national center, it's because we are a membership organization of 50,000 individuals across the country. And if Congress tries to introduce a bill today that we don't like, by this time tomorrow, 85 to 90% of them would have had a text, a phone call, email, or even a knock on their front door from a member of the National Federation of the Blind, a family member or friend. So we want to offer that to you as well. We have a selfish vested interest in this. The public awareness and the public education piece, that's what we're working on as well. And that's one of our strengths, because we have to continue to work on public education and public awareness. So those are the three pillars that I offer to you as you go forward. I've heard some of the presenters use this, and it's across the space. Build from the bottom up. There was one individual that talked about it related to cybersecurity. So building the technology from the bottom up, I've already made my high-rise technology. So let's build it from the bottom up, and let's be forward-thinking about what technology can look like, accessible technology, AV technology can look like. Also building it from the bottom up, I think someone mentioned about policy, starting on the state level. That's what we do. There's many federal laws. One I point out is there's a federal law that gives me as a person who carries a white cane the priority in the traffic space. We didn't just go to the Congress in DC. We passed that legislation in so many states, local states, that then it became obvious that it needed to be a federal regulation. So we know how to work from the bottom up. We are truly a grassroots organization. The other piece that I offer to you is we have no favorites, right? So we're not developing any autonomous vehicle technology. So that allows us to be objective. not only in our research partnerships with universities, but also in our partnerships with the manufacturers. Right now, our favorite automobile manufacturer is VW. Why? Because they've taken advantage of the offer that we made. We made that offer to others as well, and that offer still stands. So we continue to make sure that we can lend our expertise to your technical talent. I made this note here, and I do need to say this. Local Motors, is a Local Motors representative here?
I'm right here. Yeah.
Thank you. In the sign of pure partnership, Local Motors is producing their vehicle using 3D printing technology, which I think is amazing. The National Federation of Blind offers a lot of STEM programs for blind youth. One of our youth labs, we brought in 80 kids from across the country, teaching them how to program robots and do nanoscience and dissect sharks, all of the whole plethora of STEM. We needed to print some manipulatables for our nanoscience. And we turned to Local Motors, and they, because they had the technology in-house, graciously in-kind provided that service for us. And I want to publicly thank you guys for partnering with us in that, to create opportunities for those blind individuals to determine whether they want to be lawyers or not. I want to encourage and empower, most of all, your framework around all of the data and the statistics that have been provided here today. Are really trying to mitigate traffic and reaches economies and that kind of thing. But if, in reviewing that data, you think that the inclusion of more people with disabilities is going to exacerbate the traffic conditions, well, just skew that data a little bit. We want you guys to welcome us as new travelers. You know, you got a lot of people that have been homebound, I'll say, that will be liberated once this particular piece is included. And I'm hoping that you will help us become liberated. To the issue of whether it's ride sharing or car sharing, Professor, rather than either or, I would say it's both. I think car sharing definitely allows the affordability question to be addressed so that there'll be more adoption, because I personally am not going to be able to afford an autonomous vehicle. So the fleet model and the car sharing piece, I think, introduces the vehicles in a space where more people can become aware of it, and you can educate them about the safety of it. And then, of course, the ride sharing is going to make it even more economical. And I'll also add from a personal perspective, because I've done ride sharing and some of the Ubers and Lyfts, it's also something that our country needs. I have informally met people that otherwise would not have interacted with, and they need more understanding and more tolerant person. I think that we in this country need more understanding, more tolerance. And if ride sharing does that, then let's do that. And those are really the highlights. I could go on, but I don't want to exacerbate this opportunity. But I would stress once again, collaborating with the blind for creating a better design is going to end up with a resulting technology that's beneficial for everyone. So thank you guys for your time.